I actually hate doing intros to videos because I'm not like one of those people that can just be like, hey, welcome to my channel. Here's today's video and it's about this. I just hate doing that. So today I guess I'm talking about the Australian punk band Dune Rats and their newest album, Hurry Up and Wait. Ooh, what a paradox. Let's do it. Okay, so if you don't know the Dune Rats, they're like everybody's current favorite like 420 Blaze It band. They're one of those youthful, sandy, long-haired, tattooed bands that are probably from Queensland. Yes, they're from Queensland. That write and play songs unapologetically about how they smoke a lot of weed and do a lot of drugs and whatnot. Just your standard kind of youthful Aussie album. I mean, they literally have this song called Scott Green on their last album, The Kids Will Know It's Bullshit. Scott Green. The chorus is like, at a party, who's Scott Green? But if you actually listen to it very closely, it kind of sounds like it's saying, who's got green? As in green, who's got green? They're singing about marijuana. And as funny as I find Scott Green on the first listen, I also realized that this is probably the kind of song that like 16-year-old kids smoking a joint for the first time at high school would sing on repeat, thinking it's like the funniest thing in the world. Huh, who's Scott Green? Get it? It's like the kind of song that like an 18-year-old private school graduate who's going to Falls for the first time would really, really love and think is like the funniest thing ever. It's cool, but it's kind of lame. And I guess thinking about the Dune Rats, you kind of have to go into their albums not particularly expecting a groundbreaking magnum opus that's going to surprise you. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but when I started listening to this album, I pretty much assumed it was going to be pretty similar sounding to their last record and then some. I wasn't expecting anything revolutionary. But luckily for the Dune Rats, I definitely have a soft spot, or like not even a soft spot. I have a massive spot for pop punk. And I grew up on it, and I feel like I probably sit in a similar age group to these guys, so we probably grew up listening to the same kinds of bands. I'm talking about artists like Blink-182, Sum 41, Green Day, NoFX, Offspring, and etc. I guess in some ways, Dune Rats offers this really edgy Australian take on the classic American-sounding 90s punk style, which has sort of been broached by other Australian bands, such as maybe Violent Soho, but the Dune Rats are definitely less structured and not as heavy as those guys. I should also say, in juxtaposition to Violent Soho, the Dune Rats songs don't really have much of an emotional focus lyrically. It's pretty cut and dry, and a lot of the lyrics and songwriting reflects this carefree lifestyle that the band seems to love and enjoy. Not worrying about like the monotony of everyday life and just living to have fun with your mates, which I guess is this kind of Australian culture that we've fostered over time. Yeah, she'll be right, mate. And a lot of the tracks on the album are really reminiscent of something from Blink-182's 1999 album Enema of the State, the one with the nurse on the front cover with All the Small Things and What's My Age Again. That being said, the production definitely isn't as clean and tight as Enema of the State, which probably works in the Dune Rats' favour in this case. Maybe even more so though, I get a lot of vibes of Sum 41's album All Killer No Filler, especially on the song Patience, a really cool track which would fit extremely nicely on that album with a slower tempo and really raw vocals in a super catchy pop punk chorus. The lead single, No Plans, could also fit pretty well on All Killer No Filler, especially given the fact that it seems to borrow heavily in style and in its opening riff from Sum 41's hit In Too Deep, as well as the song 1985, which is most famously performed by pop punkers Bowling for Soup. There's definitely nothing bad about showing your inspiration from the forefathers of your genre in your music. And I actually think that's why No Plans is such a great pop punk song. It takes the best elements of classic pop punk, but also adds the trademark Australian accent and larrikinism to give its own Aussie spin. I guess another credit to the Dune Rats is their blatant self-awareness. They seem very aware of the fact that they're like a piss-take, fun kind of band that isn't trying to do anything groundbreaking. This is particularly highlighted in the intro track that definitely made me laugh out loud with its all too familiar voicemail of a guy talking about how much he loves his mates and wanting to do drugs with them soon. A lot of the songs on the album seem to be specifically written for big festival crowds to chant back to them. A lot of them feel quite anthemic with big, bold, repeated chorus lines, such as the song Bobby D, which is the real opener of the album after the intro, with its chorus of "Yeah, crazy motherfuckers." You can definitely see 18-year-old lads at Falls Festival belting this song out thinking they're the coolest people in the world. And the song is actually pretty cool. It's just like, yeah, crazy motherfuckers. I don't know who the motherfuckers are, but apparently they're crazy. The same thing goes with the album Closer, which is called Mountains Come and Go, but Aussie pub rock lives on forever. And it's like this self-celebratory anthem that makes its message pretty clear. Guys, apparently Aussie pub rock will live on forever. But I honestly think there's a substance and logic behind this being the closing track of the album. It's literally a celebration of what the Dune Rats are. They don't take themselves that seriously, and they're not trying to be anything they're not, again. And I think that's kind of part of the appeal of this. Fuck, they're just a bunch of Aussie bonza blokes playing a bit of rock and roll and doing a bit of 420 blaze it. I think the standout track that was actually kind of surprising to me because of its more mature sounding instruments and more reflective lyrics, while still boasting that Aussie larrikinism kind of feeling, is the penultimate track, The Skids. I don't know what the skids are, and maybe I don't want to know, but the vocals and lyrics just feel, really reflective, and the chorus is an absolute masterpiece of pop-punk catchy chorus writing. It's really, really nice and flows, and something you can sing along to really, really easily. Because a lot of the tracks are really similar stylistically and also quite short in length. Some of the songs kind of blend into each other and don't necessarily stand out that much, but you kind of just put your headphones in and just sort of let the album play itself out. Songs like Rubber Arm, Bad Habits, and Crazy are all pretty standard pop punk songs. For some reason, when I heard the song Bad Habits, I thought it was going to be a cover of that Mr. G song.
She's a party girl with a bad habit for drugs.
And the fact that they're standard pop punk songs doesn't mean they're bad. Although the band definitely has a habit of filling lyrical holes with yeah, yeah, yeahs and even nah, nah, nahs, particularly in the end of the song Crazy. Overall, I honestly didn't expect to especially enjoy this album as much as I did, but honestly, I see it as a pretty fun listen that any 90s punk fan would really enjoy. It's a great example of Australian punk artists really getting a strong following and just enjoying playing music. It's the kind of album you'd put on in the car on a road trip to the beach with all the windows down and the wind flowing in and everyone having beers except for the driver. Something like that. I don't know. I've never really done that, but I assume if you were doing that, you would be listening to this album. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on the Dune Rats album Hurry Up and Wait. Let me know what other albums, movies, or games you want me to review or talk about, or anything you want me to talk about at all. I want to start doing more of this video content like this and just putting it out there. Go and listen to my podcast, 20th Century Boy. Also, go and do whatever you want. I'm not your boss, but my name is Radio Mike, and this has been The Inside of My Mind. Catch ya! Pew.